Hello all, this is David from Sunward Hobbies. Of the many things that I am dying from, resin dust inhalation is one of them. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to properly work with resin and save your life. The subject I will be using for this video is a resin wheel from Belcher bits, made specifically for Tamiya's 1/48 scale Lancaster. Now, most resin comes on either a thick block like this, or you'll also see resin attached to a little plate with these tree branch like things holding it in place. But regardless of what's holding the part together, the best way to remove a resin part from its holding is with a serrated razor, something with teeth like this. Now, unfortunately, what that does is create resin dust, which, as I've alluded to, is extremely dangerous to inhale. It's very toxic. So it is very important that you have a respirator on when doing this. Here, let me help you out. There you go. It also helps to have some paper towel on the area where you're working so that the shavings can all collect on here and you can just pick it up, throw it in the trash, and not have to worry about it. Alright, so I'm going to grab my razor and my resin wheel and let's get started. This saw I'm using has two different kinds of teeth to it, one that's wider apart and a finer one. To get a cleaner cut, I'm going to be using the finer end. And you're just going to saw your way through this. And there you go. Nice, smooth, clean cut. And we're gonna throw all this trash out. Yeah, don't ever bother trying to use sprue cutters to remove resin from a block like this. You'll just ruin it. Now, as clean as we got that, it's still not baby's bottom smooth. So another technique that we use when working with resin is called wet sanding. So you'll take either some sandpaper or a sanding sponge and just dip it in some water. So for this video, I'm going to be using Tamiya's new sanding cloths, a 600, a 1500, and a 3000 grit. So yeah, as I was saying, cut a piece of this out, just dip it in a bowl of water and just sand like you normally would, as the water kind of helps diminish the resin dust, as well as give you a smoother finish. So I've got my cup of water here, and I've cut out my 3 sanding sheets. So we're going to get started. Just simply dip your sanding paper in the water. It's nice and wet now, and just sand like you normally would. See, that is wet resin dust, and obviously dust that is wet becomes less, how do you say it, light in the air, so harder to inhale, thus keeping you alive. So I'm just gonna buff it out with these higher grit sanding papers, and then we'll see how our product looks. Alright, you're safe now, so this can come off. So despite any remnants that were left over when we sawed this off of the block, they are sanded smooth now. So the wet sanding technique does in fact work, and I can attest to it. Now you'll need to clean this up a bit just to get rid of any dust particles that may still be on it, as well as just keep it clean so that whatever paint you put on top of it will adhere better to it. I just want to take some dish soap, preferably Dawn, and just bring that to your sink, pour a little of it on it, and rinse it clean. I will take you to the sink to show you a demonstration in case you have no idea what I'm talking about. That was pretty much all I wanted to go over in this video. However, before I sign out, I would like to provide a few more tidbits on the inner machinations of working with resin. So let's say you want to glue this on to some plastic or another resin piece. Best thing to use is CA glue. There are glues out there made specifically for resin, such as this VMS one. I use this, it's pretty good. You can also use regular CA glue from brands like BSI or Inoteca. However, I've noticed that some CA glues take longer to cure on resin than others, so some may need accelerators. Just be mindful of that. Now when it comes to painting these, you're going to want to prime it, especially if the paint you're going to use on top is acrylic. Now, you can use something like Vallejo, but if you want it to withstand, I don't know, getting touched, then you're going to have to go with a lacquer primer. So you can use something like All-Clad, or if you are very lucky and you still have some, Mr. Finishing Surfacer. And if you do have Mr. Finishing Surfacer, can you spare some cutter, me brother? Anyway, that's that. In conclusion, that's that is how you safely work with resin. I wish I practiced what I preach, but I assure you everything I told you is 100% fact. So if you are ever looking for the tools and supplies to safely work with resin, you can find them at Sunward Hobbies, in store or online. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go pass on to the other room. So thanks for watching the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our socials, and until the next one, adios. They actually thought I was dying.